Imagine you're standing in an elevator on a Monday morning. The doors close, the aroma of coffee wafts through the air, the ringing of a phone blends with the hurried footsteps. And then you see someone who looks strange in a way that's hard to describe. They're neatly dressed but not flashy, their eyes alert but not strained, their gait steady but unhurried. They don't seem to be trying to project discipline. They're remarkably stable. The strange thing is, their lives don't seem to fall apart on Monday mornings like most of us. They don't talk much about their habits. They don't brag about their self-transformation journey online. They don't do anything extraordinary. The secret lies in this. They master the most mundane things you can imagine, things so boring that no one would want to photograph them and post them on their story. But it's precisely these things that distinguish the steadfast from those who are constantly starting over. I say this as someone working in the health field. Your body and brain aren't designed to live by bursts of motivation. They're designed to live by rhythm. Motivation is like a wave. It can rise and then fall. But a system of habits is like the tide. Quiet but steady, powerful enough to change the entire coastline if it repeats day after day. And the point is, systems are often very monotonous. Monotonous because they have to be repetitive. No need for inspiration, no need for the right mood. Just do it, even when you don't feel like it. Transformation doesn't come from one time you do the right thing when you're feeling particularly enthusiastic. It comes from doing things every day, even when you're not interested. Now, let's get straight to those boring but life-changing habits, following the order and spirit of your story, but through the lens of brain and body science, with detailed instructions so you can turn them into a real system, not just a to-do list. First habit, drink water as soon as you wake up. Sounds funny, right? Drink water, the most basic advice of all time. But the problem isn't whether the advice is old or not. The problem is that it's annoyingly true. While you sleep, you experience about 8 hours of silent dehydration. You exhale water vapor, you sweat lightly, you don't replenish fluids. As a result, when you wake up, your circulatory system and tissues are in a relatively dehydrated state. You think you're tired, but in many cases, you're just dry. There's a very insightful detail you pointed out. Your brain actually shrinks slightly due to fluid loss. This isn't meant to scare you, but to show you that brain tissue and body fluids are closely related to alertness. When body water levels are below optimal, the brain tends to struggle to maintain attention. The heart has to work a little harder, and you easily confuse drowsiness, lethargy, and dehydration. Therefore, those who seem unusually alert before noon usually don't start their day with caffeine. They start with water. Not because water is interesting, but because it's the simplest biological trigger. You can remind yourself with a humorous but true statement. Your body is about 60% water, not 60% iced coffee. Just one glass of water upon waking can help you quickly rebalance. It aids in flushing out accumulated metabolic waste from the night before, wakes up the digestive system by providing fluids for better bowel movements, and increases alertness within minutes thanks to improved circulation and neuroendocrine signaling. But the most important thing is behavioral psychology. You're sending a signal to your brain that we are awake, settled, and ready. It's not just about the water. It's about the moment you remind yourself that you're in control of the day. And the brain loves that early sense of order. You've done the right thing right the first minute. To turn this habit into a system, do the following. The night before, place a bottle or glass of water in a place you're sure to see when you open your eyes, bedside or next to the bathroom. As soon as you sit up, take a few sips before reaching for your phone. Don't demand perfection immediately. The goal is consistency, not perfection. If you're forgetful, you associate this behavior with an anchor. After putting my feet on the floor, I drink water. The more specific the anchor, the easier it is to automate. And if you have a specific medical condition, heart failure, kidney failure, fluid restriction, you follow your doctor's instructions. For most healthy people, a glass of water is a quiet but extremely beneficial start. The second habit, making your bed, sounds like a mother's scolding. Why make it when you made a mess last night? Exactly, and that's the key point. Making your bed is proof that you can start and finish a small task. Don't underestimate small tasks. Your brain operates on a chain of small victories. Your surroundings reflect your mental state. When you arrange your space purposefully, your brain tends to mimic that purposefulness for the rest of the day. It's no coincidence that Navy SEALs believe this, not because they love neat corners of the bed, but discipline starts small in the literal sense, starting right on the bed you just lay in. And here's the secret many people miss. The goal isn't tidiness, it's momentum. When you complete a small task, your brain releases just enough dopamine, not the kind of exhilaration you get from browsing the internet, but a subtle sense of satisfaction that makes it easier to tackle the next task. Your bed is the first domino. If you accomplish this, you've just laid a brick for your identity. I am the one who finishes what I started. To make it a lasting habit, design it so easy it's impossible to fail. You don't need to tidy up to hotel standards. Just straighten the sheets, fold the blankets simply, and adjust the pillows. A maximum of 60 seconds. If you turn it into a 5-minute undertaking, your brain will bargain, and you'll lose. Don't give your brain a chance to negotiate. 1 minute is too short to argue, long enough to win. Third habit, walking after meals. Most people lie down after eating, then complain of fatigue, bloating, and post-meal drowsiness. Meanwhile, some people simply take a leisurely 10-minute walk around the neighborhood. Physiologically, a gentle walk after a meal helps muscles consume some of the glucose, reducing the post-meal blood sugar spike, while also supporting bowel movements and reducing sluggishness. You mentioned a very specific number. Harvard Medical Center once stated that this habit helps reduce the peak of blood sugar spikes by nearly 20%. Think of it as a way to flatten the energy curve, so you don't spike and then plummet. But just talking about metabolism isn't enough. The beauty of this habit is the recovery message you send to your body. The digestive system is working, energy is flowing, we're okay. This isn't a sweaty workout, it's a signal of balance. To practice correctly, you need 3 principles: timing, intensity, and consistency. Timing. Within 10 to 30 minutes after a meal is reasonable for most people. Intensity. Walk slowly to moderately. You can still talk and you won't be out of breath. Consistency. You don't need to do it after every meal from the start. Choose a fixed time, for example after dinner, and maintain it as a ritual. Over time, those 10 minutes can contribute to reducing the risk of metabolic disorders, improving sleep, especially if you walk after dinner and combine it with soft lighting, and regulating appetite because blood sugar is more stable. Again, the tedious walk wins because it's repeatable. Fourth habit, go to bed at the same time every night. Sleep isn't just about the number of hours, it's about rhythm. The brain likes predictability because predictability means safety. When you sleep irregularly, your circadian rhythm is as messed up as a lost traveler without Google Maps. Your sleep-wake hormones are out of sync, your core body temperature doesn't drop properly, and you have to use alarms, caffeine, and willpower to fight against your biological clock. Meanwhile, those bored people go to bed at the same time, even on weekends. As a result, their bodies wake up naturally. Fewer alarms, less grogginess, less caffeine-induced panic. Persistence turns the body into an ally instead of an enemy. If you want to make this a system, do the opposite of what most people do. Don't start with wake-up time, start with bedtime. Choose a realistic time, for example 11 p.m., then set up your landing ritual 30 to 60 minutes beforehand. Dimmer lighting, dim screens, prepare for tomorrow, and personal hygiene. You're training your brain that this signal sequence is safe for sleep. Imagine your body as an orchestra. If each instrument plays randomly, it's chaotic. When they harmonize, your whole day is more balanced. The brain prefers rhythm, not chaos. And as you said, regularity improves focus, mood, and even unexpected things like skin quality, because hormonal and immune recovery happens better when sleep patterns are stable. The fifth habit, eat the same breakfast every day. Oatmeal, eggs, smoothie, and repeat. It sounds mechanical, but this is a powerful psychological tactic, reducing decision fatigue. Every morning decision about what to wear, what to eat, and what to do first consumes mental energy. By the time many people arrive at the office, their willpower is already half depleted because they've had to make so many small choices. People who eat breakfast according to a fixed routine are automating the less important parts to save energy for the important ones. You gave a very good example. Steve Jobs wore almost the same outfit every day, not for fashion reasons, but to save energy. Structure soothes the nervous system because predictability is a safety signal that the brain loves. How can you practice consistency without harming your health? You choose a stable breakfast framework. Protein to help you feel full and regulate blood sugar, fiber for good digestion, just the right amount of healthy fats, and a suitable source of carbohydrates for activity. Then you prepare the ingredients in advance to reduce friction. Pre-portioned oatmeal, pre-prepared eggs, pre-washed fruit. If you're afraid of getting bored, you keep the framework, but change the ingredients. Oatmeal and banana today, oatmeal and apple tomorrow, boiled eggs today, fried eggs the day after. The brain still perceives prediction, but the taste buds don't resist. The goal isn't to eat exactly the same thing, gram by gram. The goal is not to have to make decisions from scratch. Sixth habit, tracking spending. Nobody likes it. Annoying, tedious, and sometimes even heartbreaking. But those who track spending know very well what their energy and attention are being bought by. By recording, each swipe of the screen becomes a conscious choice. Psychologically, this behavior forces you to distinguish between wants and needs. And as you described, when you look back, you'll see things hidden in the shadows. Late-night meals, forgotten subscription fees, purchases to satisfy sudden dopamine cravings. I want you to remember this. Awareness is the first step of control. The goal isn't self-punishment through extreme saving. The goal is consistency. Where your money goes should reflect the life you want. Tracking progress is tedious, but running out of money is just as tedious, a kind of tedious mixed with anxiety. To make this sustainable, You need something so simple you can't escape it. 2 minutes each day, record 3 lines. Today's total expenses, 1 largest expense, and 1 expense that seems insignificant but adds up. Or if you prefer a weekly approach, every Sunday, review for 10 minutes. Circle recurring expenses, emotional expenses, and valuable expenses. When you do this, you're not just managing money, you're cultivating mindfulness, and mindfulness is the foundation of all behavioral change. Habit number 7, read before bed. Almost everyone has spent countless hours scrolling through social media, then wondering why they can't fall asleep or why anxiety sets in upon waking. Screens and notifications are food for the alert nervous system. Reading is the opposite. It calms the heart rate, quiets neural activity, and signals to the brain that it's safe to rest. When you give your brain a story instead of a series of stimuli, it recalls a feeling of peace. You stop absorbing the chaos of others and return to your own train of thought. You said something very accurate. Reading just 5 pages makes a difference because it's ritual, not quantity. You're not just falling asleep, you're preparing your brain to store, consolidate, and slow down. How to make it effective? Choose calm books in the evening light, stories, essays, skill books with short chapters. Avoid content that is highly stimulating or that sparks internal conflict. Reading light should be warm and just right. 10 to 15 minutes is good. If you're busy, 5 pages, as you mentioned, is fine. And most importantly, keep your phone away from your bed. If you want the act of reading to win, you have to make browsing more inconvenient. No heroic willpower is needed. Just design the environment. The 8th habit, prepare meals and clean up in 10 minutes. Those who never worry about dinner aren't lucky, they prepare. They dedicate 2 tedious hours on Sunday to cooking and portioning, and as a result, the whole week goes more smoothly than many people's mornings. This is the science of friction reduction. When the decision to prepare meals is made in advance, you don't need to exert willpower at the most tiring time of the day. Similarly with the 10-minute cleanup, not deep cleaning, but maintenance. You prevent chaos by never letting it spread. You've mentioned a crucial point. A cluttered environment increases cortisol, the stress hormone, and a truly open space allows the nervous system to breathe easier. This is environmental psychology. A good space, good emotions, a clear space, a clear mind. To truly achieve this boring yet effective approach, you design 2 rituals. The Sunday ritual, 120 minutes, no fuss needed. Choose 2 to 3 staple foods, a protein source, chicken, fish, beans, a good carbohydrate source, rice, potatoes, whole wheat pasta, depending on your preference, and a tray of vegetables. Pack them in containers. The magic isn't in the delicious food, it's in reducing your "what am I going to eat now" 5 times a week. A 10-minute daily ritual. Set a timer for 10 minutes, clean along the path, collect trash first, put things in their proper place, quickly wipe down kitchen surfaces or countertops, and stop when the time is up. You don't need to be perfect. You need to avoid accumulating chaos debt. And when you do it consistently, your house doesn't need to be spotless. It just needs to avoid becoming a source of background stress. All of this sounds bland, doesn't it? But it works almost always. Because peace isn't the absence of noise. Peace is the result of order in daily life. And here's the truth few people want to hear. Life-changing habits don't have to be exciting. They're designed to repeat. Interesting habits often shine brightly at first and then fade. Boring habits accumulate little by little, day after day, like the compound interest of identity. While most pursue motivation, wise people build systems. But the system is often boring. That's its nature. Because it doesn't need you to be excited. It just needs you to show up. Start with practical actions. Drinking water is the biological trigger and a sense of control. Making your bed is a small victory and dopamine boost. Walking after meals balances blood sugar and promotes recovery. Sleeping on time is a circadian rhythm that turns your body into an ally. A fixed breakfast simplifies decisions and saves mental energy. Tracking spending is mindfulness, distinguishing between wants and needs, turning awareness into power. Reading before bed switches off alertness mode and activates safety mode. Preparing meals and cleaning up in 10 minutes reduces friction, lowers cortisol, and maintains a stable environment. And when you put it all together, you'll see something very scientific, but also very human. You're not trying to be the perfect version of yourself. You're just creating repetitive signals to convince your brain and body that life is orderly, predictable, and therefore you can calmly move forward. Now, if you could only choose one thing to start with, choose the most boring, smallest, easiest thing, something you can do again tomorrow, no matter how you feel. Do it. Do it again. And observe how the most ordinary choices quietly build the life you pursue. Consistency isn't flashy, but it's the most powerful form of self-respect. This is how people who look strange because they're too stable actually live. Not because they're better, but because they've built their lives on routines boring enough to last forever.